Hi, I'm Carla D. Tillery, and welcome to the Chair Chronicles. I'm your life coach and your favorite auntie. You know, that aunt that is so not afraid to tell you the truth and help you see things just a little clearer, and you love her advice. Well, as a certified life coach with over 2 decades of experience, I'm very passionate about helping you find your happiness. So pull up a chair and let's have a talk. LA,
Hey there.
we're going to talk about this question.
Okay.
How do women break glass ceilings?
Oh, right on time.
How do women break glass ceilings?
Well, you have to tell me. You have to tell me, how do we do it? How do we do it, Carla?
Listen, I remember during the election time, and just seeing so many different women, and particularly women of color. I was like, oh my goodness, we are really breaking some boundaries here.
Yeah.
And, just the expression breaking glass ceilings is a metaphor, right? So it's a metaphor really used to represent that there's a demographic that has this invisible barrier from rising beyond that. And so I am thinking about looking at all of these women, and it just seems like now over the past maybe 5 years, 10 years, there have been this just flood of women in politics, CEOs in the C-suite era of different companies, and you're just seeing them more on television, and they're doing more than just now acting, right? They're in politics, they're in the media, they're representing different companies and banking and things like that. And I'm just like, wow, we are seeing more women break glass ceilings. And I've been to a lot of different conferences too, where that has been like the subject matter, like how do you break glass ceilings, right? And so again, it's an invisible barrier, but the invisible barrier is actually real. It's not just a perception, but it is actually a literal barrier in so many different ways, and it shows up in so many different forms.
Wow. Well, I'm looking forward to hearing from you. I want you to share a little bit about, how your journey began and what did it take for you to and continue, because let's just be clear, as we go higher and higher, there's still, like you said, that invisible barrier. So, talk to us. Tell us how did you, tell us about your journey.
Yeah, and a journey it is. I would say that just in my academic career as an engineer and starting off after I finished grad school, it's been a process of 20 years to get where I am. I work as a chief operating officer, known as COO. So technically in that C-suite, but it's been 20 years to get there. It did not come easy. It takes time to sort of build yourself, to build your credibility, to build your presence, right? And I talk about a lot of this with clients about having a voice at the table.
Right.
And the only way you can have a voice at the table is you first got to get to the table.
We have to be at the table, right?
Right? You got to get to the table first. And what I mean by that is you've got to find a way to kind of take advantage of those opportunities, look for career advancement so that you can be heard when you speak.
Right.
And so there's a pressing that comes with that. There's a sometimes pushback that comes with that, because sometimes, women in the workplace can get a different perception if they're too vocal, if they're too aggressive.
Right.
If they're too in the forefront, we don't always get the same rap based on male counterparts that might demonstrate those same qualities. It's looked at as, wow, he's on his way to the top, and, he's a mover and a shaker. But when women do it, we're a bulldog. We're seen as, not compassionate and all those other things. And it's a negative light on women versus what the light is on men.
Right. And I'm sure that added on to that is you're a Black woman.
So. Yes. In the engineering environment, it is predominantly white male. And so, yes, it is very tough because I don't generally see a lot of people that look like me. I don't generally see a lot of people of color or a lot of minorities, particularly in my area. I don't think that's always true in all areas, but because I'm working in the New England area, I do think that that's another element to it as well. Because I've had some projects and I've traveled down south, and I might see a little bit more. And I went to a historically Black college, so I grew up surrounded by other minorities, other people of color in engineering. But after I moved to New England, then it's a lot less. But yeah, I think that certainly is another element to it. And the one thing is that I think in my personal journey, I just want to be known as a good engineer. Right. It wasn't about, being the Black engineer or being the female engineer or being the Black female engineer. It was just about, I just wanted to be a good engineer like everybody else. I wanted to make a difference. I wanted to work on something that was meaningful and that had value. And so for me, it was not about my skin tone. It was not about, my gender. It was about my mind. It was about my ideas. It was about my skills. And so I think when you focus on that, then that enables you, I think, push forward. Because I think in any profession, any venue, there's always going to be that look at, the outside.
Right.
And everyone has to push through that to show up and show who you are. So that was one of the things. I think, I tried not to focus on that. It wasn't, I didn't want to call the race card. I didn't want to call the gender card. I just wanted to show up and be seen for me. Yeah.
So given the fact that you don't see a lot of engineers here, you said in New England, that, look like you, a woman, where do you go? How did you find mentors or someone that you can look to and say, hey, I want to bounce this idea? So what did you do? How did you, find mentors?
So I would say I was really fortunate to have an opportunity to work for a company that was woman owned. And I think that for me, extremely instrumental, because what you're, kind of leading to is that you need a support network of some type. Yeah. And and I think for other females, it's important to have that female, what we call sponsors, right? It's a little different from having a mentor. It's a little different from having a coach. A sponsor is someone who really helps advocate for you in the workplace for advancement. And I was fortunate to have a mentor, but I was extremely fortunate to have a sponsor. And she actually worked on my job. She was my manager. And she was extremely instrumental in coaching me, making sure that I was honing in on my skills. And as she was growing and advancing, she was bringing me right along.
That's awesome.
But I had to bring something to the table, though, right?
Right.
You don't want to bring dead weight.
Right. Exactly.
Listen, you got to be working with something.
Right. It's too heavy.
And so I always wanted to make sure she had something to pull.
And I'm glad that you brought that up, because I think we do need to differentiate the difference between a mentor and a sponsor. I never even thought of that. Like, wow, yeah, there is a difference. And that's key. That is key.
Absolutely. A mentor can be like more of an emotional and mental support. They're encouraging you and all those types of things. A coach really is helping you with your skills, though. Even if you think about like a basketball coach or a softball coach, they're going to show you how to bat. They're going to show you how to dribble. They're going to give you the fundamental skills that you need. So a coach helps you with the skills of whatever trade or whatever, market or career you're in. A mentor provides that emotional and mental support. A sponsor helps advocate you for promotion and advancement. They're yelling out your name, right? So when you think about like when you think about like these ads, like, you know, Coca-Cola or Nike, when they sponsor like an athlete, the
Right.
athlete has to showcase that brand,
Right.
right? So there's a
Right.
selling of each other.
Right.
So
Right.
as a sponsor, you are advocating and selling that this person needs to be in this position or in this role because
Right.
they are exhibiting certain skill sets. So
Wow.
yeah, huge difference between a
Yeah.
mentor, a coach, and a sponsor.
But very important keys to drive you to that next level. Very good to have.
Yeah, you
Wow.
need all of them.
Yeah. Yeah.
You need all of them.
Get all of them, right?
Need all of them. 1, 2, and 3. So
Oh, I
yeah, so
love
I
it.
was fortunate to have those in my life, and one of or more can serve all of those roles. You know, again,
Mhm.
but you're getting different things. But I
Right.
would say my sponsor was also my coach because she was an engineer and she
Mhm.
really helped me hone in on my skills, but also was a strong advocate for me as
Wow.
well.
Wow.
Yeah.
So what were some of the roadblocks or some of those obstacles that you've had to,
Mm.
either bust through, hop over, go under, go around,
Mm.
you
Yeah,
know?
yeah, you would do a big song and dance throughout your career. So it's a little bit of all of that. It is first, I think a lot of it comes in from inside, internal, the
Mm,
self-doubt,
right.
right? The
Mm,
wondering if you're good enough.
mm,
And I think for women particularly, we struggle with that because I think in general, and I, I say this, with the caveat, I'm talking in
right.
general terms, right?
Right. Right.
We have a
Right.
lot of image issues.
Yeah.
And
Right.
so, I think some of us, bring that to the table and it
Mm,
shows up at the workplace, the
right.
insecurity,
Mhm.
again, not feeling good enough,
Right.
wondering, do you have what it takes? And
Mhm.
so some of this can come from just your own, internal perception of who you are. Now,
Right.
but it also can come from the outside. Let's not get it
Right.
twisted.
Right.
There will
Right.
be those that come against you. And this is where you have to have confidence in who you are. It
Right.
is it because it can be huge roadblocks.
Mm,
If you
mm,
don't have a certain level of confidence, a certain level of agility, a certain level of, I can do this and to
right.
really show up
Right.
when you're just constantly faced again with, these invisible barriers.
Right. Right.
Right? You've got to
Yeah.
see yourself almost as invisible to get through the invisible barrier. You
Yeah.
cannot allow other people to, feed
Mhm.
you toxic, feed you drama and
Right.
chaos because
Right.
they're politicking and they're navigating a way to
Right.
push you aside.
Right. Right. You
And
have to
it's not
create internal
always
strength. Right.
easy. It's not
Of course.
easy, but I would say that those are the things that I was fighting against, right?
Right.
Not just
Right.
me, but I'm also fighting against others who were not in my corner, you know? Just
Mm,
like you'll have
mm,
a sponsor, you'll have somebody else who's yelling and
right.
screaming the exact opposite. See me, I'm over
Right.
here, promote me, advance me.
Mm,
So
hmm.
yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. What is your advice to um to our young women who are coming out of college, who are
Mm,
excited about what their next steps should be, and those that are fully in their careers and just trying to figure out what's my next level? How do I get there?
right.
What's some of the key takeaways that they could, glean from you?
Sure. Some of those include stay a learner. You need to be in a constant state of learning. You cannot just figure that once you've graduated from school that that's the only schooling you'll get. So you need to look for training opportunities. You need to look for those webinars, things like that, anything that will give you an opportunity to stay on the top of whatever area you're in. And so that's one of the things. Stay a
Mhm,
constant learner so
mhm,
that you can continue to grow. The other thing is getting connected. One of the things that I tell, whether it's a new hire or whether it's someone I'm mentoring, I tell them get involved with professional organizations that are related to your field
right.
because that will be the opportunity to not only build your network, but it gets you, a lot of times there are seminars and things like that that are going on about the industry that you're in, and you're going to need that information. And you've got to learn how to start networking, because you never know, someone that you hand a business card to or say hello to or ask about what they're working on could end up giving you that opportunity.
Right.
And so getting connected in your field is one of the top things that you should be doing. So staying a constant learner and getting connected in the professional environment, in terms of professional organization, is those are my top two. Wonderful. And the other thing is to know that you will have to do some type of sacrifice. Your time, your money. You may do things that are not a part of your job description.
Right.
Let me look. Let Auntie tell you a little secret.
Tell us about it.
When someone asks you to do something and you know it's not part of your job description, but yet you can do it or figure out how to do it, do it.
Right.
You know why? Because they can never take the skill away from you. They can't take knowledge away from you. It is something that you can take to the next job or to the next job.
Right.
You may not get paid for it, so they may take your money, but they cannot take what you've learned.
That's it.
And we gotta understand that. Sometimes doing the extra and going over and beyond, it helps you. It's not about them.
Yes. It stretches you.
It stretches you. And I see so many people, they ain't paying me enough to do that. What? I get it. I do get it. I do get it. But let me tell you something, that sometimes you have to, you have to be selective, right? You have to figure out what are those things that I can do that's extra over and beyond that will add to me, add to my value, add to my skill set, add to my worth as a professional. Because those usually are the things that you put down on your resume.
That's right. Absolutely.
And send it on, right?
So you better tell us something.
It's an add-on.
Right. Come on, it's simple, but we tend to overlook it.
We overlook it. So the sacrifice of your time, the sacrifice of you doing something that may not be in your job. And I would say, those are those simple things, but they go a long way.
A long way.
They go a long way into building your career. So those are my top three.
Awesome advice. Oh,
yes. So that's it. It's really that simple. So I say, remain a constant learner, get connected in professional organizations related to your field of study, and offer up sacrifice of your time, sometimes of taking on something else that's really not a part of your job description, because all of those things are going to add so much value to you, and you're going to find yourself breaking through those invisible barriers. They're not even going to be an issue for you, because you're just going to have everything that you need to power through. Power through.
Come on, let's keep breaking those glass ceilings.
Yes.
Love it.
And I love the photo after the elections. Again, that was so inspiring to me, of all of those, females that are actually doing things. And I think it is our responsibility to be raising our young girls.
Yes.
Right? To know that they have the ability to do the same.
They can do it. They can
far
beyond what they can imagine for themselves. So we have to continue to imagine with them. And cheer them on. I love it.
So if you don't have a daughter, adopt a daughter, sponsor a daughter, mentor a daughter, all of those things, coach a daughter, because we need to keep raising the bar for ourselves and watching us create change. We are so smart. We are so intelligent. We are such beautiful creatures. And I just love the fact that we've got now so many examples that I want us to get to the point where this is not even a conversation anymore, because it just is.
It just is. Yes.
It just is.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. So listen, if you have a story out there about how you have broken a glass ceiling, or if you want to share your story or your challenges, please do that. And as always, we want you to stay tuned and stay connected on
The Chair Chronicles.